All right guys, before we get into the video, make sure you guys hit the like and please subscribe. We're so close to 200K subscribers. We're trying to get there so bad. It's been long overdue. But anyway, we have a great instructional video for you today. We're gonna talk about the difference between when you should move your feet and eyes and when you should change balls, change equipment. And through the coaching, our coaching membership and all the lessons we do, this is a common question that we get all the time, is when do I move my feet and when do I just get into a different ball? So Brad, can you explain just a little bit and then we'll start throwing some shots and kind of just dive into this mess?
Well, I heard a great coach once say, Rick Benoit said, bowling is and always will be about transition. So if bowling is and always will be about transition, then bowling is and always will be about should you change balls or should you move your feet? Because anytime there's transition, you got to do something. Back in the day, 40, 50, 60 years ago, people came in with 2, 3 bowling balls and then they could, in professional tournaments, they'll bowl all day, 16 games, and they'll have to make all these little adjustments with their hand because they only have a couple different bowling balls. Well, now the bowling ball companies have come out with so many different types of bowling balls and technologies and covers and cores that you can piece together this arsenal that allow you to play different parts of the lane and move. However, that can become a little tricky, right? It's like, which one do you go to? How do you formulate an arsenal? How do you know when you should start going into that arsenal instead of just moving your feet? Well, we're gonna dig into that, and we can only really give you what we kind of do ourselves. I mean, the strategy you would use in this center on this shot is different than a strategy you would use in a different center on a different shot. So it's almost impossible for us to nail it every single time. It's impossible for us to nail it every single time when we're bowling at our best, to trial and error. It's like a lot, you don't really know the answer until you start trying some things and then you actually kind of backdoor your way into figuring it out. So we're gonna throw some shots here.
Yeah, and in reality, you never know the answer. Everything is also just an educated guess. It's just the closer, the better educated guess we can make all the time, whether it's changing balls, whether it's moving our feet, whether it's changing our hand. Those are the guys that are generally better, along with just being very good at bowling.
Yeah, and if you're out there bowling on the same pattern every week and it plays the same every week and a lot of the guys throw the same balls and makes the same moves, okay, that's pretty simple because once you figure it out, it kind of can stay the same for several weeks or months. But if you're going to different houses, if you're bowling tournaments, if you're traveling, you're bowling on all different types of stuff, different conditions, houses, and you're just gonna make a lot of errors in terms of deciding.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's how you figure it out sometimes is you make an adjustment, that wasn't it. You make it, that wasn't it. And
Still
4 or 5 later, you finally find out what you should have done. This is it right here. How do you know? And let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Yeah, we need to make more videos like this because this is like, I feel like we're teaching people actually how to bowl right now. So anyway, I got my strongest ball here. It's an Eternity Pie. This is gonna be like my earliest ball, my rolliest ball. Shouldn't do a whole lot down lane. I'm just gonna stand on 20, look about 12, and see what this ball does. We're gonna throw a few. Oh, Kyle, I'm gonna.
Great job. That is awesome.
Well, let me throw a few here. I got an idea of how I'm gonna formulate this in my head, and we're gonna do it. Now, starting out with the gutter was not part of my plan, but you know what? We were just, we're a little hesitant there.
Well, should you move or change balls?
Okay, so do you move or change balls after just completely missing right? So neither actually. Actually, I am gonna move a little bit with my feet, but we're just gonna not throw it like a complete idiot. So anyway, you can see that I can't just throw it wherever I want. So we're just gonna go up the lane here, or try to, and throw a better shot. Okay, so we can see that ball there. I was balling this pattern and I wanted to play a little straighter at the start, maybe on some fresh. That ball's reading early and rolling. We're not seeing a whole lot of angle, okay? So when we talk about whether we change balls or whether we move our feet and eyes, we're talking about once we're lined up and the lanes are transitioning, like what are the adjustments we're making? Those are 2 types of adjustments. So we're gonna act like we threw a bunch of shots and now I'm gonna move my feet and stuff left a little bit. So we're gonna act like maybe that 4-pin or something. And instead of changing balls and staying there, I'm gonna move left a little bit with my feet. Now again, this ball is designed to like be rolly, be early, but let's just say it's overhooking now. And sorry, I'm trying to think about where I'm standing here. So we're gonna move our feet 4 left. We're gonna look at 15 at the arrows now. It's gonna have to create a little bit more angle. Ooh, okay. So that's good. Whether to move, so let's say we made that move right there, right? We decided to make a move with my feet and eyes instead of maybe changing balls. If that ball there, if I would have thrown that same ball and that ball would have flat 10'd or maybe like rolled out and didn't hook enough, now I made my adjustment with my feet and eyes, I kept the ball the same. If that other scenario happened there, I would think, probably not the right ball.
Yeah.
So then I would probably keep that same adjustment with my feet and eyes is how I would kind of look at it, but then I would change balls.
Right.
As well. So maybe I would make both moves.
Yeah, so while you're going, like while you're trial and erring, and we like to start with the really strong balls for this reason, because in order for us to know what ball to start with and what ball to go to and kind of how we're gonna formulate that, we got to know what they're doing. Sometimes it's very subtle, the difference between a ball that actually works and gives you a big score and lots of room, and then a ball that doesn't necessarily work and give you a lot of room and a big score. It's very subtle. So we have to try these bowling balls, particularly in practice, and we like to try the strongest ones just to have an idea. Okay, what's the strongest ball doing? Is it rolling out too much? Is it still pretty angular? Because if you throw the strongest ball in the market and it's still a little angular, well then what's every other ball gonna be? It's gonna be pretty dang angular. You should probably start with that one. So as he's warming up, he's trying to figure out, does the ball plaque 10 when he misses a little left? Does it give him a little bit of room? Does it look good through the pins? That last shot looked great through the pins.
Looked good, yeah.
So just from that shot alone, we haven't thrown enough to see what the off hits look like. But just from those last couple of shots, you got the off hit, light strike, and then you move, boom, 10 back. That tells me that's close to the ball right now. If we were to try some of these other ones, we're not going to get as perfect of a ball reaction like you just did.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So as a ball would be striking, we're still waiting for it to just have that weird hit, that plaque 10, that pretty much tells us, hey, this ball's getting really close to not being the ball anymore. So we're constantly monitoring, even in trial and error shots, whether or not the ball is right or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely monitoring our reaction. We're seeing what it's like. So, I'm really, when we're talking about changing balls versus moving our feet, like I'm really using the ball to read the front and middle part of the lane how I want. So I'm using the cover of the bowling ball. Like this is a stronger cover. So I'm really using this cover to, now we're bowling on a little fresh shot to make sure it reads early enough. Now the problem is there's times where as I get left and try to create more angle, there's the possibility that this cover becomes too strong, which then I would maybe look at, changing to a different ball as well. So again, but right now, since I threw a strike to the right, moved a couple in, threw another strike, right now, this ball itself isn't telling me that it wants to stop being thrown. I just need to keep moving my feet because right now it's striking even when I move left, and we're just gonna keep rocking with it. Okay, Kyle. God dang.
The thing about it is great bowlers throw bad shots a lot of times as well.
Woo! Change balls.
Change balls. Change balls.
All right, now we got to throw. Apparently, we need to make our talking points slightly shorter, so I can stay loose here. So anyway, but again, talking about the difference between moving our feet and changing balls. And right now, as long as I throw it good and don't do that, this ball is still striking.
All right.
Yeah, so I mean,
now that's a really strong, slow bowling ball. What we mean by slow is it doesn't like to aggressively change directions sharply.
Right.
It likes to roll early and then roll out, kind of go forward in the back part of the lane. And that's one of the extreme ones, okay? Like in terms of slowness and rollout. That is an extreme roll-outy ball. So the fact that it's giving you that kind of angle, that's telling us what kind of balls are in play right now.
That's a good way to put it. Like we're always looking for what balls to throw in certain positions. You can kind of break down your arsenal that way. Like when I'm trying to get my ball to read and play a little more front to back, not create a ton of angle like I'm creating right now, this eternity pie is going to be the kind of ball I want to do that with. It's not going to be probably like this ball. This Ion Pro, I have to create a little bit more angle with that ball when I choose to throw it. So it's like finding now, I'm like, okay, this ball is rolling good. These types of balls are probably going to be good the rest of the day.
Let's say one of these last shots you threw went a little too straight in the back part of the lane, plaqued the 10, didn't go through the pins very well. We would immediately say, okay, too strong. We're never saying an eternity pie is too weak. I mean, there's just not. I mean, what are you going to go to? Like,
yeah,
there's just not many balls that are rollier than that. So we're constantly thinking, the second it plaque 10s, we're going to have to go into another section of bowling balls, which is what we call a ball down. you know, some symmetrical pieces, a phase 2. This is a solid cover. When we go to that next ball, let's say at plaque 10s, and we go to the next ball, how weak do we go? And again, what we were doing with this ball, trial and erroring, when we go to that next section of bowling balls, the weaker ones, we're still trial and erroring. It's not going to be 100% perfect. Oftentimes when you do go to the right ball, it just feels like it's Christmas. It's like, all right, yeah.
That's true. Yeah, when you make that right call. That's so right now with this ball, I mean, I would not change balls. I'm just moving my feet as I go. So this would be a scenario where I'm just going to keep testing the waters with this ball until, you know, I say, okay, I've moved too much. I need to start bowling down or looking at a different option. So we're gonna move our feet. So I'm just gonna act like I'm still transitioning. Let's say I've moved my feet 5 now. So right now we've just moved our feet. We're gonna be a little bit farther left. I'm gonna have to create a little more angle. Hopefully this one's close. Okay, so, and again, you know, we're trying to do this in real time. We're gonna act like that shot there, I'm having to create more angle. The lanes are broken down. They're not necessarily there yet, but because I saw that and the ball like got to the spot and didn't want to really come off of it, now I'm kind of thinking if that's the angle I want to play, I need to throw something that's going to come off of that spot more. And the Eternity Pie is really just not built for that in my arsenal.
Yeah, and this is where you got to play to your strengths. Kyle's strength is not necessarily seeing the lane front to back. He likes to hook it. So that ball is kind of requiring him to stay a little straighter because of how strong it is. You know, when a ball rolls out like it just did, we consider that strong. A lot of people think weakness means doesn't hook. It's more angle of anything. So he likes to play the middle part of the lane, so he's just gonna ball down because that allows him to have a little bit more angle. If you're a lower rev rate out there, or if you like to play straight, it might just be same spot on the lane and you just cover down.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a weaker ball that gives you just a little bit more skid and angle. You don't necessarily have to play big angles. Regardless of low rev rate, high rev rate, it's probably time to change balls. If you're seeing that labor, just blah, because then you got to create it and then it's hard.
And that's a good call, creating it. I have a Rockstar here now, symmetrical ball, solid. It's gonna be a lot more angular than my Eternity Pie is. I wanna throw 2 shots here, and one's gonna be, I can try to create and play to the right with this ball, but this ball I already know, when I give it a little bit of angle, it's gonna be more conducive. This is what I want this ball, this is what it's designed to do in my arsenal. Eternity Pie is designed to go a little bit straighter. Can I make this ball go straight and just shell down? I could, but for me in my game, I feel like I have to create that and manufacture it, whereas if I could just move left and start using my feet, then I can create the angle that this ball wants. So I'm gonna try to throw a ball straight like I was with this one. So that would be a move, right, of like not moving our feet, just changing balls, and let's see what happens. So like for me, I'm gonna go play back to right, which is probably where I would play with that Eternity Pie. I'm not gonna do anything crazy different. I'm gonna throw it exactly like I did with the Pie. So this would be shelling down. Okay.
Yeah, so much more hook.
So you can see there, that ball is designed in my arsenal to be more angular when it sees a spot. The Eternity Pie there, it rolled, read the front part of the lane, and just went straight. And that's kind of why, you know, we get this question in our comments all the time. Oh, just throw a weaker ball and throw it in that same spot. Well, it doesn't necessarily work like that.
No.
It's not exactly how it works all the time, but it could be if that's how your game is, you know.
And we've discussed quite a bit on this channel of like, you know, you really have to see the ball hook. If the ball is laboring down lane, there's just not a whole lot you could do. So we have 2 misses. Kyle missed with the Eternity Pie, core locked up, it's too strong, cover strong, it rolls out, okay? He goes to another ball, he knew this ball was gonna be more angular, boom, it hooks too much. We have 2 misses. Which one are you going to play?
Right now, I would probably throw the Eternity Pie if I wasn't edging left.
And just see it a little straighter?
Yeah, just play it straighter. That's honestly like, because right, I mean, I threw like 3 shots, and as long as like my angle's in front of me, I mean, it's reading and giving me hold and not overreacting, which is like, great. I love that.
Yeah, so this is a scenario where just hanging out by ourselves in a bowling center, just bowling, and it's still not black and white. Like, he could go stay with the Eternity Pie, and he could go to the Rockstar, and we're just hanging out bowling, you know?
Yeah.
There's not more people bowling on the pair. So this scenario is never black and white. It's always gray. It's like, I could.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, you're
it's
just
hard.
You're just trying to make the best guess you can. So going back to when I tried to shape the Eternity Pie now, that was a scenario where no matter how much I keep moving my feet left, that Eternity Pie is gonna be out of gas. So then we would change to something like this Rockstar. So let's see, when I would play left with this Rockstar, that would be a scenario where, you know, I'm keeping my feet and eyes the same as when I missed that Eternity Pie way to the right, but I'm just gonna change balls and throw it in the exact same spot, and kind of ideally this ball should come off the spot way better.
Yeah, that's what I totally thought you were gonna say. You were just gonna go to the ball that gave you angle and you're just gonna move into your sweet spot.
Yeah, I saw that by me picking the straighter version, that kind of threw you off a little bit.
See, I mean, that's how great it is. I thought for sure he's gonna go with the ball that gave him hook, like angle hook, and just play his A game, but he thought in that moment, I kinda like that front to back, you know, roll out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, in general, like there's no absolute in bowling, and we talk about that all the time. And you know, obviously you can tell by us, you know, translating what's going on in the lane here, there's no absolute. We could do this, we could do that. But in reality, we're just trying to find a ball that we're lined up with. So in practice, we throw a strike. So we're talking about the difference between changing balls and moving your feet, when to do both. Well, ideally, we can all get to a ball that, you know, we can throw a double with, right? Mm-hmm. It's lined up, we have our ball. Really, I'm just gonna stick with that ball. If it overhooks once, I'm still gonna be using my feet. I'm not changing balls yet. I'm gonna move my feet. And if I throw another double, great, we're gonna stick with that ball. More transition happens, say I have 4-pin again, I move my feet. Well, now when I move my feet this time, I ring 10. So maybe I'm edging too far left with this ball. Well, now, once I've made the adjustment kind of with my feet and eyes, and I don't carry after, you know, a shot, now I'm thinking, probably need to change balls. I would say that's like the most cookie cutter way to put it. But in reality, when you're bowling on tournaments, and especially the more advanced you get, I mean, it's impossible to put into words.
It's so quick.
To the transition and stuff.
There's so many errors, and people will throw one ball and it'll ring a 10 and they'll just put it right back in the bag. You know, it's very high level stuff from this scenario. And so you have those two scenarios. You have bowling ball change and your feet change. And in the bowling ball side, in order to really know what bowling balls to go to, you have to know what the strongest of strong balls are doing. And then every other ball after that is just more length, more angle, more length, more angle. And then you start with control and less control. So you just start up and then kind of work your way down the bowling ball list as you need a little bit more angle. It's not necessarily just that black and white, but that's kind of what we do. We start with the strongest, the second rolls out, we go down, second rolls out, we go down until we need some more length. And then also on the feet, you know, like you said, we kind of stay into the same ball if it's working until it's really telling it. Well, you know, we'll move and we'll give it a couple shots, you know, until it really tells us.
Until it tells us, yeah. I'm gonna throw, I don't want to change balls. If I could throw one ball the entire time, that'd be great, and I could just keep moving my feet. Unfortunately, that's just not how the game transitions and progresses.
And the more you bowl, the more you get out there, the more you get around better bowlers. You could throw that 260, you go to another pair, you make a couple moves. These decisions become really quick. The more you see better bowlers bowl, the more you get around better bowlers, because they're very fast at making these decisions because they've bowled so much. They've seen every condition out there, and they just kind of understand what balls work for them, what not. But it doesn't necessarily make this situation easy. And as always, the more you can trial and error with bowling balls and practice and stuff, the better these decisions, easier these decisions become. All right, guys, so that's it. That's a video on how to know when to move or when to change balls. It is not, you know, it's a very, very difficult thing. It is always about the transition, which means you'll always have this scenario. And you know, the building you throw on, the lanes you throw on, all that stuff matters. You know, let us know in the comments what if you guys like this type of content, if you want to get it more into the weeds, if this is something you guys struggle with, because this is the difficulty of bowling.
You know, we always talk about how to throw the ball, but I don't think enough people, or we probably don't even make enough content out there about really how to bowl. What happens behind the foul line and what happens, you know, on the other side of the foul line. And this is kind of stuff that we're reading on the other side of the foul line. So yeah, please let us know in the comments if you would like to see more content of us kind of breaking down moves and ideas and what's happening on the lane. We'll do our best. So anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.